See, I have to come in from the side, put my foot in the hack, get my balance, set the turn. My name is Harold McGrady, but I go by Hal, so I'm Hal McGrady. Originally I was from Western New York, moved to Northeastern Ohio. Didn't know anything about curling then, I was only 7 years old. Then I've moved around a lot of different places. I am 89 years old. After high school in Lodi up here north, I went to Bowling Green for my bachelor's degree, then Ohio State for my master's degree. After my master's, I had to spend 2 years as an Army officer because of my ROTC training. During that time, I spent 16 months in Korea, which were some interesting experiences. And then when I came back, I taught for a year as a speech therapist in Marietta, Ohio. Eventually, I went to work on my PhD at Northwestern University. After that, I taught at Emory University in Atlanta, then I taught at Colorado State, and then I came back to Northwestern University. That's when I heard about curling. They had just started a curling club in Wilmette, Illinois, just north of Evanston, where Northwestern is. And a couple of fellas on the faculty with me came to me one day and they said, "Hal, we know you like sports." They knew I played high school sports. They knew I followed the pro sports and the college sports, and said, we know you like sports. We need a sub at curling. And I said, "What in the hell is curling?" They said, "Look, we can show you. Just come on over to the curling club on Monday night. We can teach you to play in about 15 minutes." They took me over to the Wilmette Curling Club. That club started in 1968, so I was a member in 1969, the first year that the Wilmette Curling Club existed. And I was lucky I had a guy who took me under. I think the reason he did that was because he liked to drink at the club, okay? I wasn't that much of a drinker, and so I could drive. So I could pick him up. We could go to the rink. We'd have our drinks afterwards, and that's one thing about any curling club. We could not sell anything there at that particular club, so you had to bring your own. In the late 1990s and in the early 2000s, we were starting 2 curling clubs, one here and one in Arizona. And I've been involved in both of them basically from the beginning. If you go to the Coyotes Curling Club in Arizona today, you're going to see a trophy that says the McGrady Trophy, which is our Bonspiel trophy. Okay, you're going to come here and you're going to see my name around a few places too. So I've been involved with 2 curling clubs starting at the same time. I guess that's a good way to say it.
What's your best memory associated with curling?
Well, my best memory actually does involve the two curling clubs that I helped start, okay? Arizona and Ohio. The first year we started the club in Arizona, we said, we're gonna have a bond spill. We didn't, we weren't ready to have a bond spill. We're curling on arena ice. We have to get the ice, stones out of the ice. Very complicated if you're just curling in arena ice. But we said, we're gonna have a bond spill. I said, well, okay, if we're gonna have a bond spill, we better have a trophy, okay? So I had a friend from Wisconsin who I curled with in the Scotland tour, and he made these wooden stones in his basement. We have one sitting here in the trophy case. that is our Winchester trophy, okay? Well, I did the same thing in Arizona, and what happened was I bought the stone, and the board set up the trophy, and they called it the McGrady Trophy. Well, I didn't want them to do that. I just wanted to have a trophy. I didn't know they were going to do that. So it's kind of embarrassing, we're playing for the McGrady Trophy every year in the desert ice bonspiel. So in 2011, I asked if some guys from here would like to go curl in Arizona. What a great experience. Well, I was fortunate that three of the best new curlers in the club said, hey, yeah, we'll go. So they came out to Arizona, and we played in a 32-team bonspiel. 5 games we won straight, we won the trophy. We won the McGrady Trophy.
Have any disappointments associated with curling, or?
Sure. When I was in the Potomac Curling Club in DC, we also belonged to the Chesapeake Curling Club, which was across the bay. We didn't have dedicated ice at Potomac, but they did have it over at the Chesapeake Curling Club in Maryland. So we were at one of their bonspiels and got to the finals, and then I lost the game in the 7th end. I missed the shot in the 7th end. I lost a bunch of young guys. And I remember sitting down with those guys afterwards. I said, you guys don't know. You guys are going to have a lot of experiences like this later in life, but, I may never have this chance again. I'm having fun every Thursday afternoon here. Great bunch of people. We're not going to worry about the fact that you should have called a draw when you took a takeout, or you're going to argue about strategy and so forth. We just play. Now that's different than the days when we were in highly competitive situations, but it's still curling. Don't talk to me, an old guy, about how you make the stone curl, because when I learned to curl, you swept to keep it from curling. If it was curling too much, you swept in front of it. Now they put the brooms, and you have different kind of brooms and so forth and so on. Yeah, I'm an old guy. Just sweep. Shut up and sweep. I know, I've done a lot in my life. I've been all over the world. I've done a lot of things professionally. I've done things in other sports and so forth. But I know when I'm not here any longer, people are going to say, oh, McGrady, oh yeah, he was the curler.